Alright, the next story quest, level 100, is Guidance of the Hhetso, given to us by Geode. Oh, why did I think he was the Scottish engineer Genolt? Why did I think that? Geode is the blue-haired, rifle-wielding... Maybe blunderbuss is a better word for these weapons, because it feels too short to be a rifle by a little bit, but far too long to be a pistol. Kind of actually... No, I haven't handled... I mean, I've handled a shotgun, I've handled a rifle, I've handled a pistol, but I don't remember the lengths well enough to... I don't know. Anyway, he has a gun, and blue hair, but a cool, like, long leather brown duster and other bandoliers and stuff around his clothing and such. Kind of a black and brown motif. Guidance of the Hhetso. Here we go. Out of say isn't wrong. The mood out there is still grim. Some of the Tuliyollal remember a time before they were dependent on the soul system, but even they're unsettled and wondering aloud if they'll have the chance to reunite with old friends and family before they pass on. With good reason, too. The journey home won't be an easy one for those who've grown old. That's why it's mostly been younger folk who've been leaving for Tyrol, ones with no elders to care for. Word of that problem has reached us in Tuliyollal. My brother is doing all he can to see the Tyrol Railroad restored to operation, so that people may come and go more freely. Unfortunately, the tracks only go as far as Vanguard, so some traveling by foot will still be necessary. Even so, the railroad would make things a sight easier. How long before it's back in service? I couldn't say. When I left for this visit, Kona seemed reluctant to make promises. But while Shale's working on the data, we could go and see the state of it for ourselves. I give her a nod. To Shaloni Station, then. I'll make sure to keep Kona informed. Okay. I can just teleport, probably. Yeah. 448. No problem. I'll take that to teleport to Shaloni Station. In the zone of Shaloni. Who'da thunk it? Butterfly in the sky. Alpaca. Oh, I flew all the way around it. Stupid. Okay, we gotta go in this building, apparently. We have Walika. Oh, yeah, he's the lion man who's in charge, I believe, of this whole railroad station thingy. With his spouse, Nitowikwe. I don't know. We'll talk to Walika to continue. Cutscene. Alright, let me click that. Oh. I want a job. I want to work in fabrication. Alright. Val Resolve and Mercy Valkyrie to boot. What can I do for you? Says the lion man Walika. We're hoping for some good news about the railroad. There's an increasing number of people looking to return to Tyrol that can't make the journey on foot. I see. As it happens, the Vow of Reason is also on his way here to take stock of the situation. And the door opens and... Ah, scratch the on his way. Here's Gona with Aaronville. Aaronville looks different. He's wearing kind of more like a sweater. And the pants are different too, I think. But like I don't see him right now. I see myself with options. My options are looking good, Aaronville, or gasp, did our little bun bun finally outgrow his old clothes? Did our little bun finally outgrow his old clothes? He gives a shrug. Stop that. As you well know, my previous attire was that of a gleaner, and I have chosen a different path. It was time for a change. So yeah, a sweater that's got a V-neck, somewhat deep, but not like ridiculously deep. You can see his like middle bicep down to elbow, and then elbow down to like mid forearm, and he's got like white gloves of some kind with, I think they're fingerless, and then pants that might be like part all-around skirt except for the front quarter, and then the pants are black. I don't know. Still not a backpack. You're here about the railroad too? It was in part for my sake that the original Dawn Blazer was sacrificed, so I felt it only right that I assist with its replacement. Speaking of which, Kona nods to him. I assume Lama T has explained the growing urgency of the need. What have you to report? Says Kona. I'm trying to keep Erinville's voice deeper and slower, and Kona more I don't know, business-like, I don't know. The new locomotive was on track for completion, but we're having difficulty pulling her into the station, in a manner of speaking. You see, when we used the Dawn Blazer to get into the dome, urgency outweighed all other considerations, but now we're back to our original problem, how to run the railroad without upsetting the inhabitants of, Hhetso. Again, I think I've said this before, but Mary W-A-H-H-E, Tom, Sam, O-A, Nancy. Hhetso. That is the Rroneek. Though the Hhetso that followed them are none too pleased about their Hhetso being spooked by the noise of the locomotive either. The solution I devised is to quieten the railroad should address that complaint, says Kona. But a silent train presents a different danger. The Rroneek will need to be deterred from wandering across the tracks. And I suppose we can't just blow the whistle at them, or they'll panic and be put off the grazing again, says a voice I'm just choosing off the cuff for Nitoikwe. Weren't the rail routes plotted to avoid the Rroneek's preferred grazing areas, though? It's odd that they're getting so close in the first place. The Rroneek's grazing patterns have shifted since the tracks were laid. I am not certain why, but I intend to ask the people of Hhetso for their insight. As a major proponent of the railroad, I have a duty to assist in this matter, and I too would hear what the Hhetso have to say about it. They are the ones most affected, after all, says Kona. The first was Erinville, and then Kona. I'm hoping I'm distinguishing them. I believe it would be best to begin by consulting their leader, Hhetso. The rest of you can accompany us to the Hhetso encampment if you like, says Erinville. And we walk off with the cutscene ending. I'll hop on my alpaca randomly and head. I can teleport. Yeah, it's worth it. Save a minute-ish. Way less than a minute, probably 30 seconds. But we're just going northeast via teleport to another etherite here. Go, alpaca, go. We have Hhetso and Shepetto. For me, they're Mikot people. Hhetso is male, Shepetto is a young boy. Oh yeah, brother and son and father. Yeah. Cutscene. The alpaca makes a funny sound when you dismount. Hhetso looks us over. Vow of resolve, vow of reason. I bid you welcome to our camp, but what brings you all the way to Hhetso? I thank you for seeing us. Our visit concerns the matter of the Tuliyollal Railroad, says Kona. And he goes into an explanation. Cutscene pans up, goes black. And we're back. Still not voice acted? Yeah. You too have noticed the Rroneek's unexpected changes in behavior then. My son, Shepetto, has been looking into this matter. Shepetto? I'd say maybe mid-teens. Maybe younger. Normally, we'd expect the Rroneek to keep to their favorite grounds nearby for a while yet, and despite a thorough search, we haven't found anything wrong with the quantity or quality of the grazing in... these words. Pyarionen. Paul Y-A-R-I-Y-O-A, Nancy A-A, Nancy. Pyarionen. And Yawatani. That one's easier. Yet they refuse to keep to where they usually would, instead pushing westward, toward your railroad. I can certainly see no cause for this unseasonal migration. Nevertheless, should they continue to move west, we will follow. As any true Hhetso would, I suppose, says Kona. As you may have surmised, I am of Hhetso descent. My parents traveled with the Rroneek as well, though I myself have no memory of the experience. I was left behind as a babe, you see, during such a migration. One of many sacrifices necessitated by a nomadic lifestyle, I'm forced to assume. This shocks me. I get a white flash of Kona just like looking at a waterfall. A chance encounter with a kind Pelu merchant was the only reason I survived. Taking pity on me, he taught me his trade that I might fend for myself. I became a stall keeper in Tuliyollal's markets, and that is where the Dawn servant found and adopted me. I'd already been in the palace for some time when Lamachi came to join us. Like me, she had been cast aside by her parents. I knew the pain of solitude and wanted to spare her that suffering. As this tiny child's new brother, I swore I would always be there for her. And we're back to present with another flash of white on the screen. Truly, I have never heard of the Rroneek choosing a path so arduous as to force such a terrible decision, nor of any Hhetso willingly leaving their own flesh and blood behind. There must have been some exceptional circumstance. Yeah, it does sound like, why would you leave a baby behind? How does that... That's crazy. I cannot say. The idea of following in their footsteps that I might better make excuses for their actions never much appealed to me, says Kona. My options are, but if they had good reason, wouldn't you want to know? Or... even if it might help you better understand the Rroneek's current behavior? But if they had good reason, wouldn't you want to know? He thinks about it. As is so often the case, you are correct. Though my discomfort with the Hhetso way may arise from fear of reopening old wounds rather than blind fervor for innovation, it would nevertheless see me repeat past mistakes, and to refuse to learn one of our country's treasured traditions would make me a poor Dawn servant indeed. Please, teach me of the Rroneek and what they mean to you. I promise to listen with an open mind. We would be delighted. In the meantime, your companions are welcome to look around. Then the son nods to the father. Will you learn of Hhetso culture with me? I should like to approach this with the fervent curiosity that you and my sister share, but it would be useful to know whether I am doing it correctly, says Kona to me. I give him a nod. Then it's settled. You'll learn more of the Rroneek and we'll have a look around the plains, and perhaps in the process we'll find the answers we seek, says Wook. And she and Aaronville nod to each other and go off. Her patting her chest, him giving a shrug, and they're gone. They're walking away. Cutscene goes black. Black. We talk to Hhetso to continue. The quickest way to learn about our way of life is to do as we do. I hope you're not above manual labor. I'm not the most experienced, I'm ashamed to admit, but I shall put forth every effort, says Kona. That's all we ask. Take these tools. He hands them to Kona. Hands them to me as well. Now, introduce yourself to anyone who looks busy and ask if you can help. They'll be happy to teach you what to do in exchange for another pair of hands to do it. Let us meet back here later to share what we've learned. Pegasus, you gonna help as well? Woo! Alright, let's just head west. We're gonna kind of make a circle. We have a playful Hhetso with a Rroneek. You're learning about the Hhetso way of life, are you? I may have a thing or two to share, but rather than talking your ear off, let me test your powers of deduction. I find answers much easier to recall later if I arrived at them myself. Ahem. Our Hhetso provide us with something that we use in medicines, poultices and soap to drive away pests and to sustain our fires. What is it? Poultices and soap. Like, soap is usually made from fat, as far as I know. Not poop. Bones, whose, or whose bones? I would go with meat and organ meat? Alas, not quite. Meat and organs can both be made into delicious fare, and our neighbors are oft glad to trade for them. It's probably the bones, isn't it? They do have certain medicinal uses as well, but they aren't fit for all the purposes mentioned in my question. Really? I have to ask you again? To remind you, this material is fit for medicines, poultices, and soaps, blah blah blah. Fuck you, man. I'm gonna go with the hooves. Bones and hooves. Both horns and hooves have cores of bone, and we use all of these materials, albeit primarily in tent poles, instruments, and the like. It's not quite the answer I was looking for. Really? Fuck you. Just tell me the answer. This is bullshit. Fuck you. Is it dung again? Is it poop? Is poop the answer? You fucking... I'm sorry. Sorry. Sorry, I hate... These kind of quests are stupid. You use poop for medicines... Poultices. Poultices are things you spread on wounds. But hey, it's Hhetso poop. It's a magical game. Who knows? I'm sorry, I cussed a lot. It's stupid. It sounds like there's a story there, but that is indeed the correct answer. We've discovered myriad uses for Rroneek chips over time, each a boon to our way of life. Where there is a need, our Hhetso always provide. So you say Hhetso or Hhetso? Or Hhetso, I think she said. Sorry. I'm riled up. I'm really annoyed right now. We have a troubled Hhetso, kind of inspecting a tent. This won't do. The wind will go right through it, and me without my needle and sinew. Hand over a mending kit. I guess I was given the tools for this. Oh, these are precisely what I needed. I should be able to patch up the covering now. Given how often we pack up and reassemble our tents, they're bound to get the occasional tear. Fortunately, the Rroneek hide they're made of is durable enough that we generally needn't worry. Thank you for not asking me a dumb question. Why don't you just instruct me? I chose both wrong answers first, because I made a fool of myself. I hate this game. Now we have a talkative Hhetso with Rroneek that is kind of just like resting on its haunches. I'm afraid I've finished with my task for the time being, but since you're so eager to learn about our way of life, well, I'm going to tell you a bit about our migration customs. If you're here, you likely already know what, that the Rroneek are our Hhetso, our guides, that we travel with them, our guides that we travel with through the turning of the seasons. Wow. We trust them to lead us to fertile lands with all that we need to survive. But you may not know that sometimes the herd splits into two, bound for different paths. On those occasions, we Hhetso must also part with half our number. Wow. Okay. You may think, yeah, I did. You may think it a strange and stressful custom, but over the years it has seen us visit new lands and broaden our horizons as a people. This, too, is the wisdom of the Hhetso. How do you decide which half goes where? Random? Keep families together, I would assume. Anyway, we're going to talk to a ruffled Rroneek here instead of a Hhetso, and there's a fond Hhetso next to it. As you stroke the Rroneek's coat, you note that many portions are shaggy and tangled. This one's fur is a bit overgrown, but a good brushing should thin it out. Would you like to give it a try? You'll need the right tool for the job, mind you. A comb of the type you're used to would just get lost in the tangle, like as not. A fur brush. Ah, Hhetso sent a Rroneek brush with you, did he? How like him. Now, just run it through one little patch at a time, gently. The Rroneek kind of shakes a little bit. You dutifully brush the Rroneek until your arms grow weary from the prolonged battle with its coat. Yeah, it appears much tidier now, though the same cannot be said for your clothes, which have acquired a new coat of their own. Well done. With less excess fur, our friend here will be more comfortable in the afternoon heat and less susceptible to illness. A combed coat also makes it easier for us to identify injury should the need arise. That's an interesting idea. I like that. Thank you for the three of you who were not jackasses. Sorry, I'm done. I'm going to talk to Hhetso to complete the quest. Cutscene. You smell of the grass and the wind, which is a good thing, I promise. You could nearly be mistaken for one of us. You even look the part. I mean, I am a Makot, and you guys are not lying, people. You are Makot. Hhetso, whatever. I have to wonder how Valkona is getting on. I assumed he would be reluctant to get his hands dirty, but it seems his wish to understand us was sincere. I give a nod, although I don't know. I haven't seen him. I might have seen him. I might have gone past him, not even noticing him. Oh, there he is now. And Rroneek is walking with him. By the way, the Rroneek are like these elephants, well, close to elephant-sized, massive buffalo things. And then, again, their faces are like this mask of bone and some red and blue colored bone for the nose and mouth. Very interesting. Apologies for my tardiness. I was tasked with grazing the Rroneek and ended up rather far afield. I found myself wandering hither and thither at my companion's inclination. To force us back to the trail seemed inappropriate. But how was your own work? Have you anything to share? He says to me. My options are Hhetso life revolves around the Rroneek, but in turn the people receive all they need, or the Rroneek are treasured members of this community as important as family. Both are pretty good. I would rather just say all of it, but the Rroneek are treasured members of this community as important as family. Indeed, the Rroneek provide for the Hhetso, and in turn, the Hhetso are good to the Rroneek, just as family should be, says Kona, and then he thinks. Mine is not the only way, though at times I lack the experience to know otherwise. My inability to conceive of how a decision might be right does not mean that it is wrong. My parents had a duty to the Rroneek, as they did to me, and so I wonder if their leaving me behind was not so selfish an act as I once believed. No, still pretty dumb to leave a child behind. I don't see a reason you would have to do that ever. Maybe we'll figure that out in later quests, but that seems no. I have no way to know, of course, and regardless, this has no bearing on our present concerns. We are here in service of the people of Tuliyollal, after all. Nevertheless, I thank you for helping me find deeper meaning in what we've done today, and I will endeavor to remain curious, especially where the Hhetso are concerned. I gave him a little smile. I'm glad to hear that, Valkona. You're welcome among our herd anytime. It says Shepetto? I think that's what his name was. I missed it. Guidance of the Hhetso is complete. We get some food. Crit spell speed, direct hit. Really? 2 spell speed foods, huh? Determination crit. Wow, you don't see... That could be used for any job. Determination, crit, vitality. Like, that's fine for... healers, tanks, DPS. Like, interesting. I'm gonna grab those. Yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out. Once you reach tenacity cap, which I don't even know if it's all that high, you'll tend to probably go more other stats, obviously. That was a dumb thing to say. It was a dumb way to say it, at least. And that is the end of Guidance of the Hhetso. End of video. I will see you soon for the next one. Bye-bye for now.